What's up, everybody? I'm
Woo!
Kelly Piano Recital Keen. That's piano spelled Peeiano.
The correct way, obviously.
Yes.
And I am Dawn. I don't believe in coincidences, Glenn.
Great theme for this whole season, really.
Yes, yes, exactly.
And our director of human resources is joining us in the background,
Oh, yes.
chewing on her bone banana.
It's our chaperone to make sure we don't do anything libelous.
Yes, yes, exactly. Um, just a couple of things. Um, First of all, I want to thank everybody who has followed our channel and commented on our episodes and shared our content and all that. We've been getting quite a few messages lately and comments, and that's awesome. I love it. I'm so great to see it. I'm grateful for it, but I just want to give everybody a heads up that if we don't respond for a really long time, please don't take it personally. Like, we've got a really bad situation going on here with, like, people,
Mhm.
eh, some kind of seedy people, like, that are making social media kind of hard for us at the moment. Um, so just please don't take it personally. We're just not on social media very much because of it. But we're hoping that'll change soon. There's a lot of things brewing right now, and hopefully we will be getting some social media help soon, and that will not be the case quite as much anymore. um, Also, because I know that many of uh, many of the Walking Dead fans, just from seeing it on social media, are big fans of the show From. If you're not aware, we are. Of course, I forgot again to upload the graphic.
Oh, yeah.
But we are so I apologize for that, but we are giving away a David Alpay cameo. David Alpay, who plays Jade on From. If you haven't seen his intro on his cameo page, it's hilarious. So if you will definitely enjoy getting a cameo from him if you win. Um so check that out. Like, watch any of our episodes and join our after shows if you want to find out how you can win. And that's really exciting. And then, oh, also, just a little kind of PSA here. I was really distraught, and again, I'm sorry, guys. This doesn't necessarily refer to the Book of Carol, Walking Dead universe, but it kind of does, because last season, or not last season, I'm sorry, The Ones Who Live.
Oh, yeah.
During The Ones Who Live, when that was airing, there was a lot of stuff spoiled.
Mhm.
And it was really unfortunate. It really undermines the cast and crew's hard work, but it also really hurts other content creators because people rely on screeners to get their content done in a timely manner, especially people like us who need extra
Yeah.
time because, we have disabilities. Um, and we had to fight extra hard to keep our screeners for Daryl Dixon. And fortunately, I'm not seeing a lot of. Well, no, okay, I take that back because AMC.
Yes, as I say, it wasn't people with screeners, it was AMC.
Yes, this season it was AMC France that basically just spoiled the entire season. But unfortunately, this Sunday's episode of From, which happens to be my favorite, has been heavily spoiled by and the leaks are coming from one place, but they're getting shared, and it's
Mhm.
really unfortunate. So if you happen to see that, just please don't watch. Like, we got an exclusive that we're sharing on our social medias.
Yeah.
Um, that's okay. Like, AMC, MGM wants us to share that stuff. But if you see anything else other than that clip, which we're not the only ones who got it. I mean, lots of people got it. But
No.
if you see anything else flying around, please tag MGM so they can see it and get it pulled down because it's just not cool. It really hurts a lot of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my PSA for the
And
I
I mean, it was something as well that was happening a little bit with Daryl Dixon and where if people are sharing bits of screeners or bits of scenes out of context, it can completely change how it's perceived, how the episode's perceived. So
Mhm.
it damages it in a lot of ways as well as for screeners. So it's not a cool thing to do.
Yeah, like I already got heat because I've been hyping up the next season of From so much
Mhm.
because it's my favorite and the From fandom is very overly critical and they were expect a lot of people were expecting because I felt so strongly about this episode, they were just automatically expecting that what they personally wanted to see in it
Yeah, I get
would
you.
happen.
Mhm.
And now they're all upset because,
Yeah,
XYZ didn't happen. And it's
yeah,
just,
yeah,
it really diminishes the value of all the hard work that everyone put into it, and
yeah.
it's really a bummer. But anyway, um, according to my notes,
Mhm.
the title for this episode
Yes.
is called Kelly Eats Jim's Farts Yummy.
Okay. Yep. Uh-huh.
The work
I,
of my husband.
I thought maybe that was your supervisor behind you had got him.
No, my husband was fixing some stuff on the computer yesterday while I had my notes open and they weren't saved yet. And so, yeah.
I believe it's titled L'Invisible. I don't know how you say invisible in French, but it's invisible.
Unvisible.
Invisible.
It's like Unvisible, I think, something like that.
L'invisible. No, I can't even say it. Never mind.
um, the by the way, I already told Dawn I'm giving out a lot of suspenders awards for this episode. um, so the synopsis is Carol hunts for information. Daryl and Isabel race to save one of their own. Pouvoir regroups. And no Ash in this episode, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. We did get a lot of Faloo, which I
Yeah.
liked. So
Which yeah, that's
anytime we
and
get to see Faloo.
I have to apologize to this episode because on Twitter before all the episodes had leaked, someone asked me what my episodes were in order, and I put this last. Having watched it again, it's not last. It's a bit higher up because there's some good Carol stuff. Um, I was just being coloured by the end of it, but this is not a bad episode. I think this is one of the more even episodes in the sense of, you know, we had these two separate stories and now they're starting to come together, which gives it a more unified feel. So yeah, it's a good episode.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was a good episode, but there was just so much ridiculousness about it
Yeah.
that I'm gonna have a really full bitch list at the end of this. But yeah, let's just dive in. I really liked the opening of this.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Anytime we get to see a character in like as the outbreak starts and
Yes.
what was
I
going on
love
with
all
them.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So it opens with a pre-outbreak scene at the Louvre, and we see that Janae is well, she's not Madame Janae, she's just Marion at that point.
Yeah.
um, Marion is a custodian there. A woman's addressing some tourists up front. They're all like standing in front of the Mona Lisa, and a kid accidentally drops a can of soda, and Marion isn't really moving right away. And this very bitchy woman comes up and says, "Stop staring and do your job," and calls her a lazy cow. We don't like her. And she goes to clean it up, and the woman we saw from the last episode, it was the last episode, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, okay. At the end, her right hand, her current right
yes,
hand, Sabine is her name.
that's it.
Sabine comes up to her, and Sabine is also a custodian, and so this is how they know each other. Sabine comes up to her and says, "Don't let that asshole talk to you like that." And Marion says, I heard her husband has cancer." And Sabine's like, "Is that your fault?" Um, so this is a very interesting side of her that we're seeing it, it's
Yeah,
that we're seeing of her. She is, and we get more, it intensifies in the next scene. She's very like, she's kind of very accepting of negativity, I guess you
yeah,
would say.
yeah, yeah,
Very like kind of complacent.
yeah.
Um,
I think like when she's standing watching all the tourists, it's like there's obviously a simmering resentment that she thinks these people don't appreciate the art that
yeah,
that she's looking after, because the kids are messing around or whatever. Um, so you can see that there's some uh, disharmony, but as you say, it's a sense of, oh, whatever, that's life,
yeah, yeah, pretty much. So Sabine asks Shanae if she'll be at the meeting, and she says, "I'll try." And Sabine says, "Don't try, just do it." So we cut to the workers' meeting, and it turns out they're meeting about going on strike that coming Saturday. And somebody makes the comment that the weekend's going to be a disaster without the janitorial staff.
Oh, oh, how it will be a disaster.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And Sabine says that they'll be handing out pamphlets to tourists, explaining what's going on. And Marion says, the tourists don't care. They're there to take selfies with the Mona Lisa and not worry about French healthcare. So we see this kind of, repeating this like
Yes,
complacency. And one thing that I wanted to point out, she used the word selfie, and I
mhm.
had to look it up because I knew that the word kind of took off sometime around that time period.
Yeah,
So it actually did take off in 2012, but
yeah,
so it's kind of like on the line of whether or not it
yes,
was
yeah.
historically accurate. um, but Sabine explains it's a national walkout, which is great because that just means that France is gonna
Yeah,
France is the French people are gonna die. A
yeah.
lot of them.
Yes.
Yes. Um, and just then everyone's phones start going nuts with some type of alert.
I thought that was, yeah, I thought that's accurate. Everybody used to have actual sounds on their phone in
Yeah.
2010.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everybody just has it on vibrate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, and they all get called inside. We then see her on the phone to her husband. It's nighttime at this point, and he's just getting to the Louvre, and they're communicating on their phones. She tells him that she'll meet him outside, and he tells her they won't let they run up to each other at the glass, and he tells her they won't let him in. And she tries to go out to him, but a guard shoves her back, and they say no one's going in or out. And we kind of see some walkers ambling around behind him, and then they're on the phone, and he tells her it's going to be okay, and they exchange I love yous or je t'aimes, and he is then quickly devoured by a walker right in front of her.
Yeah.
It happens
This
very fast.
this is a bookending scene. If you think about this scene and the scene that comes later, with Daryl and Isabel, which they both sides of a wall, hands, Janae and her husband put their hands on the glass,
Mhm.
um, and exchanging I love yous. But there
Yeah.
is a difference between the second time this happens in the episode.
Yeah.
And obviously, somebody got chomped. Her handsome husband, I have to say, handsome husband.
Yes. Very good looking husband. Um, And, someone got chomped in that one, and Daryl doesn't speak
Yeah.
French.
Yes. Exactly. Like, no idea what you're saying now. You're speaking French? Don't know.
Oh my gosh. Um, but, so she goes back into the hall where the Mona Lisa is, and it's empty. At that point, there's nobody in there. And this was a really cool shot. Like, she's standing there in front of the Mona Lisa crying, and the camera focuses on the painting and then pans out to show Carol staring at it
I
in
love that.
yeah, I love that too. And that's their headquarters that they're in, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So, so Carol's staring at the Mona Lisa in Janae's headquarters, and, Janae approaches her and asks Carol
It's
what
like the
she sees.
dining hall or something.
Yes, yeah, it's the dining hall, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Janae approaches Carol and asks her what she sees in the Mona Lisa's expression, and Carol says she thinks she looks sad, and Janae says she sees a secret in her smile. Um, which I think is how a lot of people see that painting. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
that's how I always saw it. Like, she has that look about her, like there's something she knows that,
Yes.
you know.
Something something she's keeping secret.
Yeah.
And that's when Janae says a woman gazed on by millions but never actually seen. They're totally speaking about Carol as well. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like, yeah, she's seen, but is she truly understood?
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, talking about the Mona Lisa, it applies to the Mona Lisa, it applies to Janae, it applies to Carol.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's those,
Um,
yes, they're both the Mona Lisa in this scene.
yes. Yes, definitely. And, she comments that, she realizes that Carol's new, and Carol tells her that she just got there, and she says she came from a little east of there.
Yeah, I love that line. A little Easter here.
Yeah, just a little.
Yes.
Um, she says she came to Paris as a tourist 13 years ago and got stuck. And, Janae says, when the outbreak started, they protected the art and not the people,
Mm.
which I hate to say it, but that's that's what would
Yeah,
happen.
it totally is. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
exactly what would happen.
Yeah. In
Um,
just in the UK last week, two people went to prison for 2 years for throwing they were stop oil activists, and they were put in prison for 2 years for throwing paint or soup, I think it was, at a painting, which has a protective glass on it. But even
yeah.
still, just for doing that, it was 2 years, and people are like, well, they didn't do any damage, so yeah.
Wow.
That's what they do to protect the art.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that sort of art is so precious
Yeah,
and, absolutely should be protected at all
yeah,
costs. But I mean, it's historical.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
so important, but, you know, during an outbreak like that, it's not the most important, but unfortunately that's what would happen
Yeah,
in real life.
exactly.
Very realistic.
Exactly. Yes. And if they didn't know what was happening, if it was just like a terror threat or something like that, then they're just, being cautious, shutting it down. But I thought it's interesting that this is Janae's villain origin story. Is not, when they do men who, turn out to be villains, and we see it, and it's quite often that it's a personal thing. They feel they've been slighted or whatever. And I thought it's quite good that this is Janae showing that it was about the little people, that she hated how people were treated by the government, and and of course she's a dictator and
Yeah.
kills people, but still she's doing it for the workers.
Yes. Yeah, her story is actually really fascinating. I mean,
Yeah,
it shows how people can just take things too far, you know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like, they can take a good intention and just take it too far.
exactly. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but, yeah, so they, they're still chatting, and she mentions that the painting is the real thing, and Carol says, "How do you know for sure?" And she says, "Because I'm the one who took it off the fucking wall."
I love that line.
I do too.
This episode is full of such good lines. I have to say, Carol has loads of good lines in this episode.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, she really does. Um, so just then some asshole dude complains about his lentil stew and says it tastes like shit and throws his tray on the floor like a toddler. And a nearby worker gets ready to it says they'll get him up, they're getting ready to clean it up, and Janae says no, and that she tells the guy, she says, "You understand that food is a precious commodity," and she tells him to eat it off the floor.
Yeah.
Which was so it was
And
so satisfying.
yes, he's a big, huge guy as well. The fact that he was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, yeah, nobody's gonna question her.
Nope.
Um, she tells Carol she has no tolerance for bullies and welcomes Carol to the Maison Mère. And that is the end of the cold open.
And that last shot with the Mona Lisa, I mean, it's been in the most recent trailer. The Mona Lisa behind Carol, and Carol's turning almost to camera with the same kind of half smile. I was like, oh, that's beautiful direction. I love that.
How did I not even notice that?
Go
God.
back and watch it.
Yeah, I need to. You know what? It's because I didn't watch it, like, because I was because I was disappointed with the season, I didn't watch
Yeah,
the episodes the way I normally do.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Um,
Yes,
I
that's why
basically just
I
watched
would be watching.
I just took notes, and that's pretty
Yes,
much it.
exactly. Yeah, that's what I was waiting to say. If you're taking notes, you can miss a lot of visual things because if you're writing when that's happening, that's happened to me quite a few times.
Yeah.
You miss something. But that is like it was actually only when I saw it on the trailer that I clicked and I went, oh, that is a nice shot that Carol turned so she's 3/4 onto the screen and she just sort of half smiles. I was like, oh yeah.
That's awesome, I love it.
Of course Carol is the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Of course.
Um, so when we come back, Carol and Remy, who we saw last week, are moving through a line where they're getting work assignments. And Remy tells her that they speak to them in French, and Remy explains to Carol that they assigned her to the kitchen and him to the stables. And he mentions that he's glad they put him in the stables because Julian grew up on a farm, so he's hoping that they sent him there. And this was a great exchange.
It's a great exchange. Yeah, I was going to say these lines are fantastic.
Yeah, Remy asks her if her Daryl likes horses, and she says the steel kind, which she doesn't quite understand.
No,
Um, but she says she doubts she'll find Daryl in a kitchen.
yeah, the way she delivered that, like, yeah, I highly doubt I'm going to find Daryl in a kitchen. I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
great.
this is I want to point this out. We do not see what Carol tells Remy Daryl is to her. We see her twice more in this episode say who Daryl is, and it's clearly lies. But this sounds like it might be the truth. We don't know because
Yeah,
it's off screen. But Remy just repeatedly calls him your Daryl,
yeah,
and there is a parallel in a couple of scenes where it's Daryl and is parallel to Julian, and he is in this scene as well. So I thought, who knows what she told Remy? Was it the truth or was it something else? But it's interesting that that was kept off screen.
yeah. It's I mean, I have my thoughts about it, which, for that have to do with the later scene in this
Yes,
episode.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, she's clearly become very close to Remy as we see
yes,
in
yeah,
this episode. Um, but they see some people being ushered through an area, and she asks him what's going on, and he says that they're preparing for an attack on the Union, and we see the guards leading several people into the tunnels. Which shortly after they line them up and shoot them all.
Yay!
Yeah, fun stuff. Um, Carol and Remy are kind of like hiding behind uh, a wall kind of
Yeah.
thing,
It's
and
like there's another bit of tunnel and there's corrugated iron and they're sort of just going in there.
yeah, yeah, they're basically just watching what the soldiers are doing, and they watch as they inject them all. They shoot all those people, and then they inject them all with the super zombie serum.
Yeah.
And
And it's the doctor from the boat. I can't remember his name.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, I
yeah.
can't remember either.
Doctor Death.
Um,
We'll just call
Dr. Death.
him.
And yeah, so they Remy explains to her that Janae is trying to make a stronger breed. And and Carol's like, "Great, that's exactly what we need." Um a couple walkers charge them, and the guards tell them to lower the dose because they need subjects that they can control. And one of the guards then discovers Carol and Remy and just shoos them off. And Carol tells him they'll find Daryl and Julian before the guards do. And Carol tells him to just check out the stables and look busy, and she'll find him later. Then we cut to the nest where we see Sylvie praying for protection for Laurent and for the courage to do what it takes to protect him. And a guy comes by with a food tray for her, and they start discussing the upcoming ceremony. And that's when she gets the jump on him, knocking him out, and then just starts frantically looking everywhere for Laurent.
I think she used her rosary beads to choke him, which is
Oh, yeah, I
fantastic.
think she did. You're right.
I was like, well done, Sylvie.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right.
If you've lost your faith, just go, who cares?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Um, she starts basically just running through the courtyard, yelling that to everybody around that they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill Laurent. And Lo Sang tries to intervene and tries to stop her, but she gets away from him and gets cornered at like an upper level. And she's kind of yelling down to Lo Sang. They're arguing a bit, and the guards grapple with her. And then sadly, she falls to her death, which was really sad.
It was.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Sylvie. We barely knew you.
yeah. I really liked Sylvie.
Me too.
Sylvie and Falou are my favorites of the French cast.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely.
it's also sad because, she's Laurent's she's kind of Laurent's sister, you know?
Yeah, yeah, big sister. I said, that she was like looking out for him as a
Yeah.
big sister, and it was like I know, like at the end of last season, some people were like, "Oh, Sylvie and her boyfriend and Laurent is a cute family," because he almost looked like his big brother as well. So
Yeah.
it was like a little cute family there as well. But no, it wasn't to be, and I'm really sad that uh, Sylvie didn't get to experience the loving of a man, as the song
Yes.
goes. If I die young,
Oh.
Sylvie's got to kiss him, but
Yeah. Yeah, at least she got that much.
yeah,
But yeah, very sad. Um, she, so she's dead. She's very
yeah,
much dead.
yes.
Um, the, and then fucking Lo Sang. I'm not even putting up red flags at this
No,
point anymore because it's just like,
he's just red. He's just painted red all over.
my God. Just he has this sad look on his face, but he just immediately comments her faith was weak.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole.
Her faith was weak because you were going to kill Laurent. That's what
Yeah.
made her faith weak. You.
Yeah, exactly. Um Daryl, Falou, and Isabel are finally arriving at the nest. Baloo is leading them toward a path where they can try to sneak in to find Laurent. Um, Isabel asks Daryl about Ohio, and I have to say I'm glad that we've gotten multiple references actually. I think we have
Yeah.
to not just the Commonwealth but Ohio.
Yeah, because I was oblivious. I'm like, why are they calling it Ohio? Why is she mentioning Ohio? What's Ohio got to do with anything? Oh, that's where the Commonwealth is. Nobody told me.
Yeah, and I honestly, I think I knew that the Commonwealth was in Ohio, but honestly, I don't know that they ever explained that in the main
No,
series.
I don't think they did at all. No, I think they wanted to keep it a bit vague so they could change how long it took to get from
Yeah,
the Commonwealth to Alexander. Because, like, I'll just nip across. It's only an hour. You know,
yeah,
um, like the Game of Thrones things where all the countries suddenly moved closer to each other near the end, and it did no longer took them 3 months to travel.
yeah.
So I think that's why they did it. Was they never mentioned it in the main series? I'm pretty sure.
Right. They explained in the comics that it was in
Yeah,
Ohio.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, they never really got to that in the main series. So I'm kind of glad that they explained that because
yes,
so many people a lot of people are still getting confused on where
yeah, yeah.
everybody
I've
is.
seen people still think they're in Georgia.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah, they're gonna hop on over to the farmhouse any second.
where they
Yeah.
film and where it's set are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, so she asks him about Ohio, and he tells her that the winters suck, which is true. But the summers are nice, and there's fishing in the streams and fireflies, which she seems to be particularly amused by.
Yeah,
Um, Losang and Jacinta and some others find Laurent and tell him it's time, and Laurent says he's ready. They put they put a coat on him with
yeah.
that weird bird sun symbol.
It's all got a bit Harry Potter. I they have these two teenage girls come and put a cloak on them. I was like, what's this?
Yes. But he says he's excited, and Losang makes him some tea with honey and valerian root, which valerian root has some sedative properties, but I don't think they're that strong.
I wonder if he said Valerian root, but at some place they had maybe actual drugs. You know, maybe
Yeah.
they had some Benadryl
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something. Because yeah, it did seem like there was something more than that, but he was just saying it's Valerian root to cover it up. That it's going
Yeah.
to relax them.
Like, valerian root will help you sleep. It'll help calm down anxiety, but it's not gonna knock you out.
No, no, exactly. No,
Yeah.
you're not going to be, as we'd say, like The Walking Dead.
Yes. Um, and then and then this is where my middle name comes in. Losang tells Laurent that he wants to wet his pants during a piano recital.
It's such a random thing that he's just like, yeah, it's okay to be nervous. I want to sweat my pants at a piano recital. You're just like, what? And then he carries on talking as if he'd never said that.
So random.
It is very weird.
Yeah. But it cracked me up that Laurent said that won't happen. Like, yeah, I'm not a pee pee pants dude. Sorry.
Yeah. Also, I'm not 7.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Oh
so
dear.
funny.
I think that's to give us an insight into Lasang's. We didn't get his full backstory here,
Yeah.
but so we just get well. Okay, look, I was 7 in a pedo recital, so I was shy and traumatized, and that's why I've become an evil cult leader.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's his villain origin
That's your
story.
village origin story.
Oh my god. Um, so, I was saying and oh, yeah, let's wait. Yeah, okay, Lisang hands him the tea. and tells him to drink it. Then we see him addressing everybody, and he's got the same kind of coat on as Laurent has on because he's the leader of the lactose intolerant PP pants cult.
Yes.
And
Official title.
yes, the lactose intolerant PP pants cult. Um, he says they've come from all over Europe to share in the belief of what is to come, which is just like kind of it's really crazy to see,
Yeah.
like to hear that all of these people have come from so far
Yeah.
for this ridiculous belief.
Yeah.
Um, and we see them leading Laurent up the stairs, and he's preaching some bullshit about why this is such a great ceremony. And then they bring a cloaked walker up, and the one that's supposed to bite him, and we
Mhm.
see that it's Sylvie.
Yeah. That was
Very
horrible.
sad.
I was like, yeah.
I know, that's so awful. Like, oh god, it was just terrible. I hate listening
It's
so much.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the boy's about to be bitten by a walker, which okay, you believe he's going to live, and that's fine. But why on earth traumatize him with? I mean, they say why. They say, oh, no one loved him more, so
Yeah.
she's going to give him the gift of whatever it is that they believe he's being gifted with. And
Oh
it was
god.
it was unpleasant.
But Laurent basically has no reaction because apparently the Valerian root has just completely zombified him.
Yeah,
I was confused at first, and then, in the later scene with Daryl when he was trying to talk
yeah,
to him,
yeah. I was the
that's
same.
when it clicked.
Yeah,
But
I
I
was
was
like,
like,
why
"Why
isn't he
is
acting?
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
why is he having no reaction? This is his sister. Like,
yes,
why is he not reacting to that?" It was very strange.
yeah.
It wasn't done very well. They didn't make that clear enough.
No, no.
Um, but just as she's about to get to him, Daryl shoots her in the head with an arrow and says, "Show's over, motherfucker."
There are so many motherfuckers in this series, and where's Carol? I want Carol to see it.
Yeah, I know. It's for those of you who don't know, Melissa McBride was in a movie called The Happies, and like her character had the biggest potty mouth. It was just
Yes,
F bomb after F
it was
bomb. It was so great.
fantastic. Yes.
Um, but yeah, so he tries to shoot Losang, but the flag kind of gets in the way and he misses. And Losang then yells, "Get him!" And they rescue Laurent as folks from the nest try to go after them, and they manage to hide in like a little cubby hole kind of thing. And they
That's can I just say that's so funny. I wrote the exact phrase, a little
oh,
cubby hole.
that's
In my own
hilarious.
note. Because I was like, I don't know what to describe it. It's a little room off of a I don't even know what it is. It's not a turret,
Yeah.
it's just a place. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Um, so yeah, they get in there, and Daryl tells them that he'll stay back while Falou and Isabel try to get him out of there. And he then tries to get through to a very high as fuck Laurent.
Yeah. Stoned
um,
Laurent.
yeah, who's just super stoned. Um, and he tells him that like he's trying to get through to him, and he tells him to wake up, which is it's like, kid, you need to wake up, and that's when it clicked for me, like that.
Yeah, yes, yes. That
Okay,
he was
he's like
supposed to
this
be,
because
yeah.
he's drugged. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he tries to tell him that he needs to take them to the secret cave in the woods. He's not sure that he's getting through to him. But then Laurent finally speaks, and he says the one by the big rocks. And Daryl tells them to give him a day, and if he doesn't make it back, keep running. And some guys find Daryl as Falou and Isabel are escaping with Laurent. Um, this
What yeah,
Oh,
what are
yeah,
you
go
gonna
ahead.
say about this scene? No, what are you gonna say about because I've written a very specific note about this scene.
I was very confused. Um, so like Daryl is taking on the dudes that found him, and he strangles one of them and snaps his neck. And then it looks as if he deliberately spills his arrows over the guy.
Yes. Why did he do that? I don't know that at all. But my note was, this fight scene is too long. Who cares? Because it goes on and on.
It
Because there's
does.
like 6 different guys come at him, and he takes them on one at a time. And you go, oh, he's killed him. Now he's going. Oh no! Then he throws a tire at one, and then I was just like, yeah, it's Donald. He's going to beat them.
Yeah.
This is going on way too long.
It was very reminiscent of a video game,
Yes,
in my
yes,
opinion.
it was. Yes, yes,
Yeah, it definitely had a and I had to laugh at first because I thought because he grabbed that pole spear
yes,
and
yep,
or the pole axe, I mean, and,
yes,
I thought at first it was a bow staff.
yes. I've written down, Daryl fights someone with a toothpick.
Yes, yes, I wrote that too. I wrote that same thing. Daryl attacks someone with the toothpick.
You see, this is why we do this. Our minds, we're so
Yeah.
alike.
But yeah, we get a better look at it. It's
Yeah,
actually it's a pole axe.
yes.
But it would have been funnier if it was the bow
It was.
staff. Um, but I so we see Falou is hiding in one spot with Laurent, while Isabel is hiding in another. Daryl's still running into guards and taking him out and all that. Um, and it's we then see a shot of a terrible stunt person wig. Did you see that?
Yes.
It was bad.
It's very bad. The
Yeah.
wigs in this season are not the best.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't even, like, during a high action scene. I mean, he was already cornered.
Yeah. I understand why they didn't need him for this. Why you needed a double for this. I don't know. Maybe he was
Yeah,
busy.
yeah, but yeah, the wig was bad.
Yeah, it was.
It almost looked more like pre-outbreak Marian's.
Which actually, I really liked her hair like that with the when
Yeah,
she had the fringe. Very nice.
yeah, I did too. But, yeah, so then he's captured.
Yeah,
Um, and then we cut to Carol, and you could take it from here.
yeah. So we go back to Maison Mère, and Carol is sneaking around, and she sees some of the kitchen crew coming with a huge vat of food. So this, she leaps in, and it's the same young worker that Janine had saved from when the guy was she was making the guy eat the stuff off the floor, and her and the Janine and the young girl had sort of had a nod at each other because Janine's on the side of the worker. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Carol goes up to this and says, "Oh, I think I've been assigned to help you." And I just thought Carol was so funny in this scene because she's like trying to make small talk with French people when she doesn't speak French.
Yes.
She's like, "Oh, that guy with the trail last night, what an asshole." Carol does not understand a word you're saying, Carol, but valiant effort.
Yeah. Oh my god, so funny.
It is so funny. And they go into this room. I don't know how you would describe this, because it's like, I'm guessing it's where they're keeping all the people who are more injured, or
That's
I
what it
don't
looks
know.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some kind of dormitory anyway, and there's a table. Some people sitting at tables, so they put the food down on the table and they start dishing it up. And Carol's going around people. And just this whole thing was just so entertaining. Carol going around people with a ladle or whatever and going, "Darl Dixon." Might as well been serving him up. Do you know Darl Dixon?
Yes.
She's like, "I'm looking for an American. His name's Darl Dixon. I'm looking for an American. An American?"
I was telling Dawn before we started recording, like, I know we established that Carol's French isn't very good.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think most people who have ever heard more than 5 words in French, and especially if they're going to France, which, she could have asked Ash.
Yeah.
The first thing you're gonna wanna know is the phrase "where is,"
There it is. Exactly.
and
Yeah.
where is the American? Où est l'Americain? I mean,
Easy peasy. Yeah.
super simple. Like, I speak
Où est
pretty
le
much no
bathroom?
French.
I can't remember what the word for bathroom is, but où est le toilette?
Ben,
Yeah.
Ben, où est le Ben?
Okay. Où est bed? Yeah, that's it. Bathroom. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who, exit. You're asking for the most. That's the most vital information you need in French. But
Yes. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. The show is just insulting her intelligence at this point.
yeah, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. I will say that, and because also I was thinking, I would have expected Carol in this kind of situation to sit back a little, taking what's going on, get the lay of the land, understand everybody's situation. But she doesn't. She just goes, "Fool, where is he? Where is he?" It's like
Yeah.
Daryl in the radio. Have you got a radio?
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that is a sign of her desperation. That it's speed is of the essence. She doesn't have time to be her usual cool, calm self, and she's being a bit uncool and
Yes.
just being asking people straight away.
I mean,
And one of the
granted,
yeah
granted, asking for Daryl Dixon was smart.
yeah
Um, I mean, she should have been doing that, but she should because that's his name and people might
yes
know his name there.
yeah
But she also like could have like somebody just randomly shouting out a name over and over
yeah
means less than saying, where's the American?
yes
You know?
exactly yes yes. But one of the person who hears the name Daryl Dixon is Cadron, our
Yes.
beloved Cadron, who
Yeah.
is the worse for wear.
Yeah.
And he says, Carol immediately goes over to him, and he says, "Oh, I had him, and I let him go, and this is my punishment." And we see that several of his fingers are missing. And Carol said, he says, "Why should I tell you anything about him?" And Carol says, "Yeah, I love this line, and this is why I've got it. Is she says, I don't believe in coincidences. The fact that I've found you means something, and this is a sign." And he's like, "Well, yeah, I don't believe in that, so tough." he's lost. He's lost all faith.
Yeah.
And so she has to sort of try another track. And of course, we know that Carol can read people so easily, and she does. She begs and pleads, and then I love this. Now, this is I don't know what the closed captions will say when this airs, but on the closed captions that we have, it says says Daryl Dixon and I, and then she stops and she says he's my brother. But I was like, ooh, what was she going to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're soulmates.
Yeah.
We're platonic soulmates.
Or platonic soulmates. Yeah.
Just want to make sure there's no misunderstandings. It's
Yes.
platonic soulmates.
Oh my God. Oh,
Oh
I
dear.
need somebody to act out like a parody of that scene where they do that.
Yes.
Daryl Dixon and I are soulmates, but no, it's totally platonic.
Platonic. Yeah. Don't get it wrong. Oh dear. But I wondered if they had a line in it where Cadron had said, "Oh, I know Dixon. He killed my brother." Because the way she switches to say, "Oh, he's my brother," like she
Right.
knows this is the way to get him in. And it does, it works. He immediately goes, "Oh, he's your brother," and sort of, and she's like, "He's the only family I have left." The line in the trailer that we were all like, "Oh no, what does that mean? Is everybody at the Commonwealth dead?" No, it was just kind of lying as usual.
Yeah, it's if they did have that line in there, I wish they hadn't taken it out
Yeah,
because it it seemed it seemed really contrived. It came off
yes,
really contrived.
yes, yes. It
Um,
would have made so much more sense if he had said, because he would say that. That's
yeah,
why do you care about Daryl Dixon? And he's like, "Well, I was going to kill him because he killed my brother." And,
Right.
it would explain his demeanor, why he's so unhappy about Daryl Dixon, and it would make
Yeah.
this less contrived when she says, "Oh, he's my brother,"
Yeah, it
and
just
giggles.
seems it's like a moment where it just seems like the entire audience is gonna be like, "Why why did she why did she
Yeah,
say why did she just happen to say the perfect thing?" Like,
exactly. Yeah,
it's yeah, it's a little contrived. I wish that they had included a line of him
yeah,
saying he killed his brother, but
yeah. Um, and I wrote down that it's like she's found the secret password for Cadron. Brother is the
yeah.
password. And he says, and she says, the young girl's like, "Come on, we've got to go." And Carol, well, in French, and, and Carol says, to Cadron, "Please, I've come a very long way." He's the only family, and so Cadron relents and tells her about the nest. Um, and he says, "But you better hurry up, because if Genet finds him first, he's dead."
Yeah.
So Carol, this scene was so cute. Carol's sitting on the bed with Remy, and she's clutching his arm
I
like this.
know!
I was just like, I don't know why she's doing it, but I like it.
I was like, honestly, I the way I took it is like, because that's just not a Carol thing to do.
No, it's not at all. No.
And, we've seen her be affectionate like that with Daryl and Ezekiel.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even platonically with Ezekiel after
Yes.
they broke
Yes.
up.
After. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
But like it's just not a very Carol thing to do. And I was like, oh, she got really close to him.
Yeah.
And it kind of just makes me think that like she she and Ash got really close very quickly.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it likely caused her to let her guard down a little bit and,
Yes.
you know, kind of let
Yeah.
people in.
I wonder if it's because she thinks that not that she's never going to see them again, but that she doesn't have a she's not expecting to have a long relationship with either Ash at the time and Remy, so she feels able to be more open with them because she doesn't have the
Yeah.
same guardedness with people she's around all the time. She can afford like the kindness of strangers. You can afford to tell a stranger everything about yourself because you think it doesn't matter to them. So
Yeah.
I wonder if like that's what's caused her to be closer to Remy. Um, but anyway, he's explained to her where the nest is. He understands the reference of it and where it is, and he says it's a couple of hours away. Um, Carol begs him to come with her, but he says no, he won't leave without Julian. And Carol's like, "Yeah, I understand," and she's sorry, but she has to go. Gives him a hug, and as she's leaving, Remy wishes her luck, and then
Oh, wait, you're
he
freezing up
lies
on
down and cries. Uh,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You froze
yeah.
up on me for a second, but you're back. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't know what happened there. Um. So, then we go back to the nest where Daryl is coming to. He's been beaten and is held in a room with Lasang. But Lasang is being very kind, and he gives him a pillow. Says,
Yes.
"Here, take it easy. I'm just, I've beaten you up, but also have a pillow for
Yeah.
your delicate little head."
Yes.
And he says that Daryl needs to rest up and listen. He had hoped to convince Daryl of that what they were doing was the right thing, but no, Daryl wasn't interested. And this little bit of dialogue that Lasang says to Daryl is like, I think is like the core of what they're trying to say in the whole season about Daryl. He says, "You've no organ. I feel sorry for you," he said, "because you've no organizing principle, nothing to cling to, an existence spent simply reacting. A man alone. It's a sad state." And I think that we're meant to be thinking that that's what Daryl's considering. His whole "I came here looking for something." He's trying to find out what his thing is, what his reason is, what he clings to, what his faith is in. And instead of it was the phrase "an existence spent simply reacting." Norman Reedus has given a couple of interviews recently where he's talked about that Daryl has spent all his life fighting. He's reacting. He's running instead of saying, "I'm going to take myself out of this and make a choice proactively rather than reacting to what's happening to me." So I thought it was interesting that it was Losang that's saying that to him.
Yeah.
Um, and so he says, Losang says, it's easy to live for yourself because you've only got yourself to look after. I have a community to
Yeah.
lead. Uh, yeah, that's why I've got to. The one of the heavy weight on my shoulders. And he says, faith and hope are oxygen and water. It's crucial to survival, but their reserves had run low, and Laurent was their way to get it back. Basically, it's like Janae was saying about, controlling people with the super soldier walkers. He
Yeah.
was controlling them with faith, and he needed Laurent to be able to keep control of his people. Um, and he says, Daryl says, people don't know what you're doing, and Lasanne's like, I meditated and I prayed, and he realized, that it was their love for Laurent that was doing it, and that's why they had Sylvie be the one to walker him to allegedly bite him. And Lasang, another line I loved all the lines that they gave Lasang in this, even though I hate Lasang. Not the actor, Joel De La Fuentes does a great job because he's
Yeah.
really good at that, being sort of slimy but charming.
Yes,
Um,
very much so.
yes, but he says only by risking everything can we find the meaning of true faith. And Dara's like, well, what if you're wrong? And Lasang says, well, if we're wrong, there's no point in going on, is there? Well, that's cheery. Let's all let's all just end it all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, pretty much.
then we go back to Maison Mère and some action Carol, which I love. She knocks out a guard and takes his gun, and she's trying to get into one of the jeeps that's in the courtyard, but they're all locked up. And that's when she spots the horses. And she goes up to one of the horse, who is not impressed at all at first, and is rearing up accordingly. But Carol uses her horse whispering technique that she learned in season 11.
Yes.
And she doesn't have the horses are not like wasps. They don't know when you've killed one of
You're right. Oh god, I'm losing it.
Oh dear, that just came to me. I
Oh,
was just saying that because I was like, oh dear, she didn't do well last time she had a horse, did she?
oh my god, I'm crying.
Oh dear.
Oh lord.
Oh.
It just fucks her off because it's like, I know what you did to Harry.
Oh
Oh my
dear. She's the horse whispering instead of you.
god.
The Chinese whispers, as the phrase used to go, is the horse
Oh,
whispers now. They go all the way to France with it. Don't trust her; she'll kill you.
yeah.
So, and I have to say, this is the worst bit of stunt doubling in the whole season I've seen so far. Is when she hops on the horse. I was just like, that's not. A, that is not Melissa McBride, and B, that person didn't just go woohoo and climb
Yeah.
on the horse. They clearly had something on the other side of them to assist them, like something's gone like that, because they just
Yeah.
sort of magically go.
That was a massive horse.
It was huge. Yes, it was very wide. I thought
Yes.
a very stocky horse.
I mean, even
But
Ryan Hurst isn't gonna get on a horse without stepping on something.
yes,
You know?
exactly. Um, but she rides it through the tunnel, and even though there was obviously some stunt double, you definitely saw Melissa McBride was on that horse, and because it sort of rears up at one point, and I'm like, oh, she's really on that horse. And as she gets through the other side of the tunnel, she's met with a lineup of jeeps and guns pointed at her. She's been caught. So that bit was all too brief. I was like, oh, we had
I
that
know.
really long scene of Daryl fighting 12 men. Can we not have Carol on the horse a bit longer?
Yeah.
Um, but and she goes into the next thing we see is she's being taken into Janae's office, and Remy and his husband Julian are sitting there, and Remy looks rightfully sorrowful that he had given her up, and he apologized and says, "This was the only way I could think of saving Julian. I'm sure you would have done the same for your Daryl."
Yeah.
And so again, I'm like comparing, his husband to Daryl. What had she told Remy?
Yeah.
Lies or truth, we don't know. But I thought that was really nice. And Janine,
I want to comment though. Like
yeah,
we hear her say Daryl is different things to different people.
yes,
Um, and if she had done the same thing and told Remy like he's my husband or
yes,
like I think that would have actually confused people
yeah,
because they
yeah,
would have, they might have not finished the series and they're tuning in
yes. They
something.
would have
They're
gone,
like, oh, did
what?
Carol and Daryl
Yeah,
get married?
yeah.
You know?
But I think it's again, if we look at the three people she tells, and she's about to tell Judy another thing, she tells them the thing that she thinks will most emotionally convince them. Like she told Ash, she told her Ash it was Sophia because she knew that would emotionally
Right.
connect to him most. Cadron, its brother. Remy, who's really scared for his husband, she might have said, "He's my husband,"
Yeah.
without it meaning anything, you know. And she tells Janae, which is what you tell her. But so I think it's about her like being able to read people so well to understand this is what's going to work for them. So she
Hmm.
may have told Remy, um, yeah, he's my husband, and or she may have not. She may have just said he's my closest friend or whatever,
Yeah.
and Remy. But I just thought it was really interesting and that it was off screen, and it allows that the audience to go, oh, I wonder what, which is good. Um, so Janae says that Sabina will take Remy and Julian and to any place they want to go in France and leave them because the information is a commodity. And
Mhm.
but she tells Carol to wait and offers her a wine. And lesbians everywhere in the world rejoice. At the Carol and Janae scene, we're so excited to
Yes.
have them together. And they do have amazing chemistry. They
They do,
really,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they really do.
And it's just so nice to see somebody on the same level as Carol, another woman who's very similar in terms of mentally, like Carol.
Mhm.
Somebody who's always thinking.
Yeah.
And so she offers her for a drink, and Carol's asking, what is it you want? And Janae says, well, I could ask you the same. You can tell me, or I can just assign you to one of these tests.
Yeah.
So Carol obviously weighs up her options and decides to tell Carol the truth because Carol asks, what are you doing here? And Janae says, oh, we're trying to make these warriors, and we're going to bring peace. And Carol's like, oh yeah, the war to end all wars. Yeah, sure, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Um, and Carol says, Janae says, tell me the truth. And Carol, I love this bit. Carol relays the story of how she gets to France in just the best way. She's like, well, I manipulated this innocent man and told him I was looking for my daughter, and then we had to stop over, and he flew me over. We had to stop over in Greenland, where he was nearly used as a sperm donor, and I was nearly murdered by insane environmentalists.
Yeah.
But it's the way she tells it. It's just so dry. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And Ginny's like, okay.
I didn't need all that.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't need that much detail. Thanks. and and she asks, why is it that you want to find Tara And Carol, again, as we say, weighed up her options of how to get into Janae's mindset, and she says, "I came here to kill him."
Okay.
Yeah.
I only have to hope that this conversation was longer and it was cut.
Yes.
Carol is not that stupid. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Remy just gave her up.
Yes.
What do you think that he told Janae about
Yes, exactly.
her? So,
Yes.
I mean, she could have easily come up with something like, I came to kill him, and Janae could have called her on it, and she was like, because she was very emotional during the scene. Carol was,
Yes, 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 Carol was, yeah.
and it could have been a situation where like, he's my husband, but he's like, they have my daughter held
Yes,
hostage back
yes,
home, and I need to kill him or I don't get her back.
yeah.
You know? Like,
Something, yes, yes. It's the fact that Remy has given up the information. He must have told Ginny more than, oh, by the way, she's escaping. Why? Uh,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yes, it's messy. I understand what they're trying to do in Carol reading the other characters, but it means she's not reading the full, she's not thinking of the big picture. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
She's thinking on in that moment.
And it makes Janae look like an idiot too,
Yeah,
because that I mean, what happened with Cadrone last season,
yeah, yes,
Um,
exactly.
but of course it's we find out later Janae was not an idiot. She
No, yes,
knew what
but
she
we
was
know it, yes.
doing.
At this point, it seems like she's convinced by what Carol says.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what I liked about a lot of these scenes with Carol where she's lying is that you can see there's a mix of truth and lies in everything she's saying,
Yeah.
and it's keeping us guessing sort of exactly what's the truth and what's the lies. When she was talking to Ash about feeling stuck and all, you get the sense that was the truth. That was nothing to do with Sophia. That was how she was feeling. And
Yeah.
in this scene, when she's talking about um killing Daryl, and Janae says, "Oh, he must have done something awful to you," and Carol says nothing. And then, but Janae is able to read that there is pain in Carol, and sort of they connect sort of woman to woman, and she's saying, we women need to learn to let these pains go, which obviously is exactly what Carol's needing to hear about Sophia.
Yeah.
And I love that line. Men seem to have no problem doing it, and
Yes.
Carol's like, "No, they don't." And I thought that's like it's like that was shade at the whole of The Walking Dead.
Yes. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Every man got over it. Let me get over it.
Yeah.
It's like, is she thinking about Ezekiel at that point? But who knows? And she says, Janae says, we have to forgive ourselves for all the losses, which obviously is again. So I thought it was really interesting that Lasang is saying all this to Daryl, that Daryl really needs to hear, even though he thinks he's torturing him. And
Yeah.
Janae is playing with Carol, but still manages to tell her what she needs to hear, which I thought that was really quite clever. If only they'd allowed Carol to be so clever in the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Janae says, well, we know their location. She has the watch with the picture of the nest in it, and she says, I'm going to take you to your friend. If you want to kill him, I'll take you.
Yeah.
We go back to the nest, and Daryl is dragged and chained up to, I think it's a shower cubicle.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a three-sided cubicle anyway. And the guard says, I love the way they had the guard treat him as an American. Says, yes, keep your strength up. You're going to need it tomorrow. And Daryl says, fuck off. And the guy's like, we'll break you soon, cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hate the Americans. So then when we go back to some beautiful shots of France, and this time Janae and Carol are in a jeep as part of Janae's convoy. It seems like Janae is now a tourist, a tourist guide. through France. Here
Yes.
you go, Carol.
Yeah.
Do you want a
Love it.
selfie with the Mona Lisa? Oh dear, yes. So they go to the Louvre, and Janae tells Carol that she used to work there, and that she swept the halls, and there was all these religious paintings, and she says there. I didn't quite get this. I have to say, this scene I didn't quite understand the symbolism. She says there was one painting that she only really understood after everything had happened, and it was a desperate family hanging in peril over a flood, and she said that she understood that all these paintings of the apocalypse are people trying to make sense of the chaos and destruction, and this fantasy that there's a higher power. So I guess it's like contrasting Lusang and Genet, where he has everything is about there is a purpose, there is a higher power that we've got to worship, and they will help us out of this. Whereas Genet's saying there is no higher purpose for any of this. We as humans need to just sort ourselves out, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's like the two sides of the same coin, because they have completely different ideologies, but their purposes are pretty much the same: control people and do it through murder.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so you see that flashback that she goes into one of the main rooms, and everybody's just sobbing because people are dying,
Yeah.
and the hopelessness. So she says, Carol's like, well, everybody needs hope. And Janae's like, yes, but religion is about controlling and it's not about hope. And Janae says the masses are deluded by an opiate of hope. And there's just one word in this that I wanted to point out to. She says, they think the masses are small and unseen, that their fairy tales can control us. Fairy tales are going to come up again.
Yes.
Uh, and of course, Carol called her marriage to Ezekiel a fairy tale.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we go to the cave where Laurent has successfully gone to wait for Daryl. There's noise outside. He draws his knife, but it's blue.
Yeah.
But he's alone. Isabel hasn't made it, and they speak about what's just happened. And Laurent says, Isabel, Sylvie, and probably Isabel, excuse me, are gone because of a story that's about me. And Laurent says, he liked that everyone thought he was special, so he's feeling very guilty that it's all his fault, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
Flouis says, it's believing makes it easier to live for people. So everybody wanted to believe it, there was nothing Laurent could do to change that. And but Laurent says, belief wouldn't make me survive the bite. So he's got his head straight now, and says, Felice says, yes, but we all believed it. And Laurent says, Dal didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was the only one not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um, so back to the nest, and Isabel is dragged in. Daryl's, oh no, all upset, and she's chained up in the cubicle next to Daryl. She assures him she's okay, and the guards go away. Daryl asks what's happened, and she says that she got caught, but Laurent got away. And Daryl says, I haven't given anything away, and she says, no, I haven't either. Um, that don't worry, we'll catch up on Laurent. It's all going to be okay, but let's get some sleep so we have strength for tomorrow. And while he's talking, Isabel notices that the drain cover is broken, and so it's a sharp metal semicircle almost, and she kicks it with her foot and grabs it and puts it in her pocket. And she says to Daryl, "Tell me a story." And he's like, "Well, what?" No, I just want to hear your voice. And music started playing at that point, which was very fairy tale esque. It's very sort of tinkly music box
Yeah.
music. Um, and so he says, he starts talking about what he's experienced. It was a guy who left home looking for something. didn't know what it was, but all he cared about was going home. He didn't care about anyone or anything. Um, and then something happened and something changed. And Isabel says, "Oh, change is good." And they bring back the word "dépaysant," and so then Isabel says, "Oh, tell me about the fireflies." And Dara says, "Well, they're like Tinkerbells flying around." And he says, "You have Tinkerbell over here, don't you?" And she says, "Yeah, something couchette." I think obviously the French word for Tinkerbell. And
Yeah.
she says, "She saves Peter. She saves Peter Pan." And a light went off in my head. And Kelly knows all about this because at the time I was like, I just realized
Yes. Yes.
Isabel is Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
And her name was
she,
something else originally,
yes,
right?
it was Cassandra, I think, or
Okay.
something. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
changed her name. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Uh,
interesting.
so if you think back to season one, the second episode when they were at the school and everybody talked about it, that it was the Lost Boys, Daryl with the Lost Boys, and in
Yeah.
that episode they had Mork and Mindy, so there was some Robin Williams stuff. Um, so if we're thinking it's very specifically referencing Hook version of Peter Pan,
Yeah.
where Hook has forgotten that he is Peter Pan and he goes to Neverland. And of course, in Neverland, the Lost Boys, the longer they're there, the more they forget about home, especially happens
Yes.
to Daryl.
Yeah.
Um, but in Hook, Tinkerbell is in love with Peter Pan. She is in all the versions of it, but in Hook, she gets a wish and she makes herself human size, and they have a kiss. And when she kisses him, she says "I love you" to him, and he doesn't say it back. He says "I love her," and he gets the memories back of his own wife and family. So if you think about all that and all we've seen of Isabel here, Isabel is Tinkerbell. She was there to save him. Daryl had to come to Neverland, France, to find something, and he needs to find himself, and
Yeah.
she helped him, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like at first I
it
was
all
like,
makes sense.
really? I'm like, I don't see I'm like, and then I thought about it, I was like, oh wait, no, yeah.
I had thought I had kept saying this, that I thought that Isabel was going to be some kind of angel, not a real literal angel,
Yeah.
but some kind of metaphorical angel, that she was there to protect and save Daryl. Especially the first time we saw them, her seeing him, she's watching from a cliff top, almost like an angel on a cloud looking down on this human. And then she
Yeah.
comes and saves him, and it's like he sees her through because he's half unconscious and she's come through and it's all out of focus. And I always felt she was that kind of figure, and I thought, oh, with the religious stuff, that's the way they're going to do it. I did not at all think, oh, she's Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
So I was so excited when I watched that scene because I was like, oh, it totally means
Yeah, yeah,
that's what
definitely.
it's all about. um,
Except Isabel does not need applause to live.
no, she does not. Although maybe like many characters, the more you like them, the more likely they are to live.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. I shouldn't say
Yeah,
that 'cause that's kind of the case with any character, right?
yeah. Kind of what happened with Carol. They were going to kill her off, but they were like, no, she's too popular.
Yeah,
Back in
she
the
needed
main
applause
show.
to live.
Yes. So so she says yes, Tinkerbell saves Peter Pan, and Daryl starts speaking about Laurent going to back home, and he says, I think Laurent's really going to like it in America, and he could go to school and just be a normal kid, which obviously we know is what Laurent really wants. And Isabel says, "What will I do?" Now, I'm just going to say something here. As I say, we get the screeners and they have closed captions. They're not always totally accurate.
Yeah.
So I do not know exactly what version of this. I've heard that the French version that was accidentally leaked at once has a different wording, and it changes the meaning. So
Huh.
I don't know which one is the correct. We had the closed caption say that Daryl says you can do whatever you like. We can lay in bed till late, go for long walks, watch the sunset. In France, apparently, the closed caption said you can, because she's asked, "What can I do?"
Yeah.
So now that totally changes the meaning. I don't know which is correct because it's Norman Reedus mumbling. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like when he was speaking into the dictaphone when he said, "I went out looking for something, someone, something, some, somewhat."
I credit Norman Reedus with putting me in the habit of using subtitles with everything I watch.
Yes.
And I'm totally serious about that. I'm not even
Oh yes.
exaggerating.
No. Yeah. I've been doing it for a long time because I used to
Yeah.
live above the toilet. So every time the toilet flushed, I couldn't hear the what was happening on TV. So I had
Yeah.
to have it. But yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what he's saying, and I understand that if he is saying we, then that's really a lot of people who are shippers like myself that really sucks because it's like he's planning a life with Isabel in Conwell. On the other hand, it's possible he's just trying to make her feel better in that moment,
Yeah.
because he's trying to buck her up, and he's trying to get her to visualize a life that is a fairy tale, because it's not like that for them in reality. So, but anyway, Isabel even says that sounds like a dream. It's not real.
Yeah.
And she puts her hand around the wall, and Daryl takes her hand, and she says, "Je t'aime." Daryl doesn't. That was my pause for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
No, Daryl doesn't say anything
Yeah,
back.
the camera just kind of focuses on his face as he says nothing.
Yeah, yes. So that's, the parallel to Ginny and her husband, the hands up, the trying to communicate through a wall. And of course, Daryl and Isabel have their backs to each other as well. And the difference is Ginny's husband said to them also.
Yeah.
And Daryl says nothing. So I think, that also ties into the Tinkerbell thing, that Peter Pan loved Tinkerbell, just not like the way she loved him. And so I think we're meant to see here that Daryl obviously has feelings for Isabel of some kind, but he's
Yeah.
not in love with her. Yeah.
Definitely.
We go back to the nest. It's dark, and they're outside the. I don't know where they are exactly, but they're someplace outside of the nest. And Janine's convoy has arrived. Carol's looking a bit suspicious. What's happening? Meanwhile, inside Lasang comes to take Isabel to be tortured. Daryl, of course, immediately protective and saying, "No, she's got nothing to say. Leave her alone." And Lasang, oh, he's so creepy in this scene because he
Yeah.
says to her, "Come with me and we'll pray together." Like, ugh. He thinks he can manipulate Isabel that way, and but Isabel's like, "No, not taking it in." And Lasang says, "Oh, after all we've been together, don't we deserve this?" So they drag Isabel away, and Daryl's shouting after her, and Lasang says, "We have a greater purpose." And Daryl, in desperation, is saying, "Oh, I'll take him to you. Don't leave her alone." And always had an open heart and mind. You're beyond hope, which is, I think, is something that's going to come back, is that Daryl has no hope
Yeah.
and is beyond hope.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
back at the nest, Sabine, Janae's right hand woman, is a bit concerned. Things are going too fast. They're rushing things, and but no, Janae's insistent. They're rallying the troops together. They have this big group of people, and Janae gets up to give one of her speeches, and she says, "You volunteers, you're chosen for this mission because you're about to become the most devoted members of my fighting unit." Oh no. Um, and I salute you, and all this while she's talking. Carol looks and she sees the doctor is preparing a whole load of needles and serums, and Ginny says, right here, you're going to make the noblest of sacrifices. We crush the Union and liberté, equality, and all of that. And but Carol obviously is like, oh, this isn't good. She goes up to Janae and is saying, "You're going to turn them, aren't you?" And Janae says, "Yes, and you're going to join them because you wanted to kill your friend. This is what you asked for. You're going to become one of them. You're going to kill him." Dun dun dun. Fade to black.
It was really an interesting parallel, wasn't it,
Yeah.
with like Janae's group and and the madness of the nest.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought it's really interesting. I liked the way they had these two, which in season one seemed completely different. The Union of Hope and Janae, and by this episode we see they've literally come together because everybody's at the nest, and we see that they're basically just the same, but they're just going a different. They have a different method to get the same results, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um it's I was excited to share some of my complaints about this episode that I just
Yeah.
thought were over the top ridiculous. And then
Yes.
I realized that I can't because some of it contains spoilers. So I'm gonna have to
Oh,
wait until
okay.
next week for that,
Okay. Yes. All
unfortunately.
right. Okay. Yes.
Um, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of the things that I found ridiculous in this episode, I found ridiculous because I know what happens in the other episodes. So
Yes. I'm with you. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but I I was gonna say so much, and I'm just like I'm sitting here.
Your hands are tied.
I'm like I really can't say any of it.
No. It's like I see people discussing stuff on X, Twitter, and I'm like, "Ah, I want to join in, but I can't because we've had screeners. We cannot talk about stuff, and even though people now know it because it's leaked, we still can't talk about it. We are not in
Right.
the position to talk about stuff that's illegally leaked.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't, it was AMC's fault, but even still, we
Yeah.
can't talk about it. So I'm like, my hands are tied, and I'm like, there's a lot of things I would like to discuss, but I can't until the episode's aired.
Yeah.
And I think this is the halfway point in the season, and there's a lot that's building up to its resolution or to its peak anyway. Um, and that's why there's a lot of things that happen in this episode are really you need what happens next to talk about them because they're
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah, for
culmination
sure.
is coming very soon.
um, but yeah, I can I do have I don't even know where to go with my suspender awards because I have so many that I'm just gonna give out multiples this episode.
Yes, suspenders all round.
Yes. But so who gets your angel wings this week and
Well,
who
it's
gets your
going to
suspenders?
have to be the beloved Sylvie, who gave her life for Laurent, and I just loved her. And she had because I'm assuming she's supposed to be about 20-ish,
Yeah.
and she has had no knowledge of life as an adult except in the Abbey. And she comes out of the Abbey, she finds this cute boy, and she's like, maybe I don't want to be a nun. And but she's so loving of Laurent, and she has so much love to give, and she could have been such a good person
Yeah.
because even though she had the faith, she didn't have the faith like Lasang did, and she would tamper it with humanity, and could have been a great person. So I'm so sad that, and she just was a lovely character and a great actress, and um, she had a really nice screen presence. She gave off something very sweet and lovely. So I'm sad.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. I really wish that they had given her a happy ending, but,
Yeah.
you know. But I don't know. I mean, I guess they really couldn't, because
Yeah. I suppose, yeah.
I mean, her happy ending has to I can't say, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm getting ahead of myself again. Um, so how about suspenders for you?
I suspended. I kind of I thought about Remy, but I feel bad for him because it was out of the love of his husband who was ill. So sick people got to stick together. Uh, so I think I'm going to give it to that awful soldier who threw his lentil stew on the floor because man, don't you know? No, lentils are lovely. How dare you, lentil soup and Scottish lentil soup? And he was just being an asshole for no reason, just to be an asshole. And he thought
Yeah.
it would, he would humiliate a young girl who's a kitchen staff. And I was like, no, there's no need for that. Be an asshole because you want to rule the world. Okay, like Janae. At least I can understand that
Yes.
mentality. But not when you're just being an asshole just because you're a guy. So no,
Yeah.
he gets my suspenders.
I'm also going to agree with you on the angel wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and give him to Sylvie. I mean, it's our only chance to do it, and
Yes.
I really liked her character a lot, and
Yeah.
she did good this episode.
Yes.
Um, suspenders. First of all,
Get a
the
life.
asshole woman in the beginning,
Oh yeah, I forgot about her.
give her some suspenders.
Yes.
Um, I'm going to, I think Daryl actually didn't do anything silly this episode, did he?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't really. No, he did some fighting, and that was about it.
With all of the suspenders I'm giving out in this award, it shocks me that Daryl's not getting any.
Yes.
Because Daryl's had quite a few suspender worthy
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, I'm not giving him any suspenders this week. Obviously Lo Sang.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like, so we have this thing on our From podcast where we have like, there's this thing in the show From, it's the box. It's like their form of punishment.
Mhm.
And so our LVP for that is, somebody's going in the box. Who's going in the box? There's
Yeah.
one character in particular that we've put in a forever box because he's always going to be in the box every episode. So I think that I think Lo Sang and Janae are pretty much going to
Mm.
share permanent suspenders.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm going with the woman in the beginning and Remy for giving Carol up. And Carol, my favorite character ever, is getting suspenders this week because she made so many boneheaded moves.
Yeah.
Like, and it's the writing because Carol is so smart.
Yes.
She's so smart. And and I feel the same way about Negan and Michonne when they
Yeah.
do something
Yes.
stupid because like those three characters, in my opinion, are the smartest from the Walking Dead universe.
Yeah.
They should never do anything that's poorly thought out.
No. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Um and she was just making blunder after blunder in this episode.
Yeah. The only thing I can say in defense of it, and it's not defense, is she's maybe they don't want her to be too Mary Sue and she'd be perfect, so she does make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that, as I said, her carelessness is out of desperation,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah, that
fact she
makes sense.
doesn't speak French.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm going to I also want to give give some mini angel wings to Cadrone
Yay!
for 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 giving
Yeah,
up the goods for
give it up.
telling Daryl where to find Daryl.
Um, there was something I wanted to point out, and I was like, "Ugh, should I wait until next week?" But I can say it this week as well. Um, at the end of episode 2, Isabel has learnt the truth about what's going on at the nest, which is obviously a huge deal and has rocked her faith, and so much so that she's like, "Okay, I'll go back to America with you." And in this week, then she saves Laurent, whatever. We did not get a single scene of her talking to Laurent in this episode. Not
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't get a scene about her discussing her loss of faith, how it's crumbled, what what does she believe now? How does she feel about her part in what's happened to Laurent? That she was the one who said he was special, and this is what it's led to. Her guilt over that. Nothing.
Yeah.
She became in this episode, and since episode 2 in this, she has just become this person, this that is interested in Daryl, and that's all her character's reduced to, and that really annoys me.
Yeah.
Because she was an interesting character. We liked her in season 1, and when we saw that she was being manipulative of Daryl in season 1, we thought, oh, this is an interesting character who's going to have, and they stripped all of that away, and all she is I want to go to America with Daryl in this.
Yeah. And and to do that with with someone like Clemence, who's a very well respected actress,
exactly, yeah,
and very talented, it's kind of infuriating. Like, it's just it really bothers me how she was treated.
Yes, as a character, yeah,
Yeah, all along, because in season 1 she was the female lead,
yeah,
but they just they made it seem like she was a stand-in for Carol.
yeah, yes,
which was really upsetting. Like, she should be her own character.
she should, yes, yeah,
And season 2, she's absent from promotion. Like, you don't even hear them mention her name.
no, no.
I mean, Isabel, what? Isabel's still a character on the show? Really?
No.
Yeah.
As Norman described it, Laurent and his family.
Yeah.
Didn't even say her name.
It's like, I just don't get it. I mean,
no.
Are they like, Janae was written so wonderfully.
Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
So it's not that they can't write for female
No.
characters.
And Carol is written really, other than making a few stupid moves.
Yeah.
She is written really well. The Carol stuff is fantastic. It's deep and it's interesting and it's funny and it's where's that for Isabel? It's just and it's even worse that she's a nun. They did not have to make her a nun. They did not have to have both nuns in this series immediately start kissing men. It made sense with Sylvie more because she was young and they had the conversation where Isabel says, you didn't choose this. This was kind of thrust upon you. Whereas Isabel said, I made a choice. I'd lived life. So to have them both, and as soon as they step foot out of the Abbey, oh, there's a hot guy, Mac, on them. It's like, it's just so disappointing, is what it is. And we don't say it to be like, oh, deliberately we want to hate Isabel or whatever, because it's not like that. We want to understand more of her in season 2, to get more of her, the way we're getting more of Janae, let's get more of Isabel and her faith and how her relationship with Laurent is being affected by this faith. And so there's been 3 episodes and she hasn't had a scene with Laurent. I don't think that there's the group scene with Palu and Daryl and Laurent running, but she hasn't had any one-on-one conversation with Laurent. They're playing baseball, but it's not face-to-face conversation between them. It's just group interactions. and that's when the whole show is built on her relationship to Laurent and that she wanted Daryl to be his protector. To then
Yeah.
just go and forget about that dynamic is just bizarre.
It's upsetting because I feel like, I mean, you could take her out of the show and like it wouldn't
Exactly.
affect the
Yeah.
story.
No.
It wouldn't affect this. And the
No.
only, like, I feel like the only reason that she's there at that point is to, is to be a stand-in for Carol.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just really upsetting. I mean, it gives me the ick, man. It just
Yeah.
does. Like,
Yeah. Uh,
she needs to have her own storyline and should like,
yes. If,
uh,
as you say, if she take her out of the story, if she had to exist to get Daryl on the road with Laurent, but after that point, if she had died at some point in season one, um, the story would have still carried on exactly the same. Daryl
yeah,
wants to leave, but he feels conflicted because he wants to protect Laurent. He gets a boat the boat comes to the beach, but Laurent pops up and he takes Laurent back and he's got to train him and he wants to help him until they can get another boat, but he also still starts to feel responsible for Laurent and he doesn't want to abandon him. It doesn't make her existence or not existence. It makes absolutely no difference to the plot. And
yeah.
that's, yeah.
The thing is, you could almost, in a way, make the same argument for Falou, but Falou's role is very clear. Falou is kind of like the sidekick role. Like I mean, he's there to make shit happen. He's there to like save the day and to like help accomplish their goals and get all these things done that, that Daryl and whoever else wants to get done. I mean, he's the Daryl of the original Walking Dead series. It's did I lose you? Are you there? Oh no. Oh no, did I lose you? Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking. And hopefully I'll get you back at some point. Anyway, oh, we lost Dawn, lost her. Damn it. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's been happening with StreamYard lately. I'm about to just pull the plug on it and go somewhere else because it's been bad. But it's anyway. What I was saying about Falou is that Falou is kind of like what Daryl was to the main series. He's the right hand. He's the guy that saves the day. Um, and the sidekick doesn't necessarily have to have that strong of a storyline. They're there to, to help the main character be a hero and to pull their own heroics. But yeah, it sucks that Isabel couldn't have more of a storyline, and it's really bothersome because it it rubs me wrong just primarily because she's a woman. And like women have been treated so poorly in TV for so long. And it just, so I just, oh, I hate seeing this stuff happen. Um, but anyway, we lost on, so I'll get going. But I just wanted to remind you all, we we've got 2 new podcasts that we just launched. The Teacup TV podcast. That is Teacup just premiered this past week. They are showing 2 episodes a week. They're half-hour episodes, so it's really easily digestible, and it's really great so far. It's created by James Wan, the guy who brought us Saw and The Conjuring and all kinds of good stuff. Great cast: Yvonne Strahovski, Scott Speedman, Luciano Lubru, who played Javi on Yellow Jackets. We're loving it so far. It's really, really spooky. Gave me nightmares at one point. Oh, there she is. Oh, there you are.
And I'm in a different room. Wait till I tell you what's happened.
Oh no. Okay, tell me. I need to hear this.
I was accidentally on data, not Wi-Fi, because as I told Kelly, told you just before, my phone was hacked today, and I
Yeah.
had to reset it, and I hadn't put the password in for my Wi-Fi, so I was on my data, and I ran out of data.
Oh my gosh.
So I've had to come into another room where the Wi-Fi is because I haven't got the password and connect up to it. Um,
Oh no. Oh man.
so
Um
I apologize, and I'm flipped as well. Like my vision is flipped. Sorry about
That's
that.
okay. No worries. At least it happened towards the end, you know?
Yes, exactly. I was like, why is it going off? I don't understand. And then I was like, oh no.
It's funny because, like, the way you were sitting when you froze, you were in a very, like, intense listening position. You were and I seriously thought it was just you sitting there listening. I'm like and then suddenly I realized, like,
I
she's
missed what you
really
said.
still. Um, I'm like,
Yes.
"Dawn, are you
It's a
there?"
so sorry. Oh, it was all I
Yeah.
just couldn't understand it at first. And I was like, so I've used my entire month's data.
Oh my gosh. That's oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm so sorry.
Right. No, it was my own fault. I should have checked. It just didn't even occur to
Oh,
me. Anyway,
um
I'm sure you said something really important and interesting while I was gone.
No, I basically was just saying how, like, what we were saying about Isabel, the same could almost be said for Falou, but
Yeah.
Falou's role is very clear. He's the right-hand man,
Yes. Yes,
you know?
exactly. He's the Daryl.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. He's like what Daryl was to the main series, basically.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Um,
He's he's there to help save the day, you know?
yes, yeah, exactly. And as you say, she is supposed to be was the leading lady, so she should have more impact on the story than that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, so that's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Did you have any more notes about the show that you
I
wanted
don't think
to
so. I think that's the important parts is that it's all starting to. I think I would say I would call this like the peak of the story peaks here, and then it's a different trajectory from this point on. So it's yeah, we've reached the sort of climax of bringing everything together
Yeah.
in this, and they're all at the nest, and it's all about to kick off.
I'm I'm gonna be bitching a lot in the next episode.
Yeah. Can I just forewarn people that the next episode I'm going to be talking a heck of a lot shippy. And
It's hard not to.
yeah, it's very hard not to, and it will. So if you're not interested in that, I apologize in advance.
Yeah.
But it's a lot about symbolism and that kind of thing rather than ship. It's more about story depth. So hopefully people will understand why rather than yeah, I'm not just going to go cute.
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's, yeah, oh god, I can't wait till
Yeah.
next week to talk about it. Um, I have a lot of complaints, but,
Yeah.
I, I just wanted to remind everybody that well, I just told everybody about our new Teacup
Oh yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
I was just in the middle of saying it's really digestible. They basically come out with there's 8 episodes total in this first season. They come out with 2 a week, but they're half-hour episodes,
Oh, excellent.
and
Yeah.
our recaps are basically gonna be available every Tuesday and Thursday after the episodes drop, which I think they actually drop at midnight, so, like,
Mm.
early on so our stuff will be up early morning on Tuesday and Thursday. Um, Also, we are going to be launching another podcast, this week, actually, this coming week, called Death Crunch. That's DETHKRUNCH, and that is our podcast covering the new show Hysteria, with Bruce Campbell. So we're really
Oh
excited
yeah.
about that. And that's also on Peacock, and it premieres next Friday. So our recap will be up immediately following the episode. Um, Also, we have the From series podcast, which we are, covering on the audio apps as well as our channel. Everything is covered on the audio apps and the channel. But Sunday nights we do a live after show for From and the Book of Carol are on at the same time, unfortunately.
Yeah, unhelpful.
Yeah, yeah, unhelpful. So I actually had to I kinda had to choose which show to do an after show for, and I was like, "Yeah, this one isn't really worth it. I'm going with From."
Yeah, I
Um,
understand that totally.
yeah. So if you're watching From, join us, immediately following new From episodes every Sunday. Of course, Book of Carol might still be going because AMC and their long ass episodes.
Yeah.
Um, but also, just a reminder, and I have the graphic here. Um,
There you go.
yeah. So we've got our David Alpay cameo giveaway for our From fans, or hell, I mean, maybe you've never seen From, but you're a fan of the Tudors or Vampire Diaries, or any of the other shows he's been in. But if you're a From fan, obviously he plays Jade on the show, and he's very, very funny. And I I've referred to him as, like, if I had to compare him to any Walking Dead character, he's like the love child of Daryl and Eugene.
Now that is intrigued me. Yeah.
It's such a fascinating character, like one of the most interesting ones in the show. But yeah, his cameos are really fun. So you can jump on one of our live after shows or comment on any of our episodes for any of our shows for a chance to for an entry into the giveaway. You don't get an entry per comment, but you get an entry per comment or per video that you comment on, or per after show that you show up at, and use the chat so we know you're there, obviously. But yeah, lots of fun things happening soon that I'm hoping that we'll be able to talk about soon. But in the meantime, we also have a really fun exclusive. Well, actually, no, it's you guys. Yeah, the episode will have already aired on From. So
Yeah, that's always
no, because
yeah.
it's so confusing to me because they drop late at night, and I was thinking this might go up before, but no, that because the From episodes air early too.
Yeah.
So yeah, never mind. You will have seen it already. But all right. Anyway, so yeah, check out all of our podcasts, and we're also going to be. This is a bit further off, but we're also going to be covering Severance once we get done with this crazy fall
Woohoo!
season. So yeah, really excited about that. But
Yeah,
all
lovely.
right, thanks so much for joining us, everyone, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Take care.